start with financial results. Venture Richmond ended 2015 solidly in the black and with no pending legal matters. Stellar weather for two of our largest events, the Richmond Folks Festival and Friday Cheers concert series, produced large turnouts. It was a record year on every front for the Folk Festival. Unfortunately, a looming hurricane and a declared state of emergency necessitated the first ever cancellation of the 2nd Street Festival. With the help of our sponsors and a bit of lead time, we were able to reduce some of the event expenses. And of course, we want to thank all of our sponsors. We couldn't have done any of these activities without them. Now I'll update you on Venture Richmond activities, and the list is long. Although it may be hard to keep your attention, it is important that we go through it. You will then see and realize how important Venture Richmond truly is to this city, and it's a testament to the hard work of Jack Berry and his staff. The Broad Street Arts District, we continue to maintain and refresh the 13-block beautification project launched in 2014 in partnership with the city, the Downtown Neighborhood Association, Capital One, and the Lewis Ginter Botanical Garden. The second phase of the beautification initiative focused on key gateways to downtown, including 3rd Street and 5th Street. The new landscaping and 88 planters were installed last spring, working in partnership with the city, Maymont, Jackson Ward, and the Biotech Park. The Downtown Clean and Safe program is our initiative with the biggest impact 365 days a year. The city outsources sidewalk cleaning to Venture Richmond, and we add more money to their investment in order to provide enhanced clean and safe services downtown. The Clean and Safe program covers a 440-block area, picks up over 100,000 gallons of trash a year, steam cleans 187 block faces and homeless waste spots, removes and controls weeds on sidewalks and tree wells, and annually mulches 450 tree wells. It's a good investment by the city, and we hope that the 2017 city budget does not curtail this basic service. Our landscape maintenance contractor, Clean Care, and our Clean and Safe contractor, Community Business Group, both minority-owned businesses, are doing a great job helping us provide excellent services downtown. Venture Richmond manages the riverfront and canal under a lease agreement with the city. Last spring, we embarked on a major refresh of the landscaping of the canal walk and worked with Lewis Ginter on the planting plans. We partnered with Lewis Ginter, Hands-On RVA, the Federal Reserve Bank, and employees from Altria on the installation of 1,300 plants. We also worked with young people from the Mosby Court neighborhood, working through an organization called Kinfolk Community on a section of the planting. Our collaborative, community-based approach to the project was recognized by the International Downtown Association with a 2015 Merit Award. With the support of Altria employees, Phase 2 of the project will take place later this month, when another 2,500 plants will fill the 17th Street area. We are pleased with the progress that has been made on the Reynolds site, including the Canal Walk expansion and the new pedestrian bridge. The newest apartment building, developed by WVS Companies and Fountainhead Properties, opened last year and leased up in no time. The next big project along the Canal Walk is new construction of a 21-story mixed-use tower on the site of the old foil plant at 10th and Canal Streets. The building will house 187 luxury apartments and 137,000 square feet of commercial space anchored by SunTrust. Our Riverfront Committee and Architectural Review Committee are working with the developer on the design and connectivity of the project to the Canal Walk. We are also thrilled with CarMax's decision to expand to downtown and open their Digital and Technology Innovation Center on the canal in the Lady Bird Hat Factory building. Riverfront canal cruises had record-breaking crowds again last year. We've expanded operations to 7 days a week during the summer months to meet the demand. We have an experienced staff of boat operators and guides who do a great job of introducing visitors and residents to downtown Richmond. As you know from our previous reports, Tredegar Green is our initiative to create a natural grass amphitheater on a riverfront site immediately west of Tredegar Ironworks. It was completed in 2014 and has been a big hit as the site of the main stage for the Folk Festival. This week, We are adding 2 sets of steps that make accessing the upper bowl and lower bowl of the amphitheater from Browns Island Way much easier. The project isn't quite finished, and we are already getting a thumbs up from regular users of the riverfront. Downtown promotion was a high priority in 2015, as always. Venture Richmond utilizes social media, print media, Grid Magazine, the Downtown Real Estate Forum, e-news blasts, online advertising, the Downtown Restaurant Guide, printed brochures, television advertising, and tours. We supported the UCI World Championships with online and TV advertising. We also created a street pole banner campaign celebrating cycling and welcoming our international guests in 18 different languages. Venture Richmond is proud to be the leading sponsor of major outdoor cultural events downtown. In 2015, we added an important event to our roster, producing the official opening ceremonies for the UCI World Cycling Championships. There was no template for an opening ceremony. This was actually the first time the championships had seen such an event, and it was a tremendous success, with one of the largest crowds ever on Browns Island, the debut of the Richmond Symphony Orchestra's new big tent for their performances, school children from around the region, and members of the Richmond Cycling Corps and the U.S. cycling team. In 2016, Dominion River Rock will again be co-produced with the Sports Backers on May 20th to 22nd. Last year, we hosted 100,000 people on the riverfront. Easter on Parade was a big hit 3 weeks ago, even with the dreary weather. Venture Richmond's long-standing signature events, the 2nd Street Festival, and Friday Cheers will be back in 2016. The Browns Island Concert Series starts in 2 weeks. The Richmond Folk Festival, RVA's most popular annual cultural event, celebrated its 11th anniversary with fantastic weather and record-breaking attendance in 2015. TEDx RVA is a community collaboration dedicated to ideas worth sharing. The event was held last Friday at the Carpenter Center. Attendance was the largest ever, topping 1,500 attendees. Capital One was the presenting sponsor, and Venture Richmond was the producing partner. We worked closely with event director Farah Haddad and curator Andy Stefanovich. Venture Richmond is in its 10th year, and next month we will embark upon an in-depth strategic planning process. Altria is providing the framework based on their own excellent internal planning and will help facilitate this process over the next 6 months. We will take stock of our current programs, gather stakeholder perspectives, evaluate our strengths and weaknesses, select several strategic imperatives, and develop implementation plans. We are grateful for Altria's support. As mentioned earlier, several years ago, we completed the Halsey Bridge at 5th and Tredegar Street to Browns Island, along with improvements to the Tredegar Green Natural Amphitheater, which included restoring the historic features of a short section of the canal that bisects the grassy slope. In 2015, we created a new task force of Venture Richmond's Riverfront Committee to determine the next big riverfront projects that we will champion. We've examined several potential projects, including what it would take to restore the ship lock and tidewater locks to working order, as well as how to complete missing links of the canal walk. We have decided that our next major riverfront initiative will be the restoration of the canal from Tredegar Green to Maymont, and the construction of a bike and pedestrian path along the entire 2-mile distance. The bike trail will complement the Virginia Capitol Trail, and it includes segments constructed as boardwalks where steep cliffs impede a normal trail. The project, as envisioned, will create a family-friendly recreational trail on a level grade, as well as a new commuter bike route to downtown. The rewatering of the canal, which the city has already planned, will allow for canoes and kayaks to paddle in a protected waterway adjacent to the river. The canal project will also make it possible to bring back a restored historic packet boat for canal excursions. Preliminary engineering studies have begun, and we look forward to raising private funds and partnering with the city to make this ambitious project a reality in the next few years. This concludes my report on Venture Richmond's activities during 2015, along with some of our plans with 2016. I hope you'll agree that we have been a very supportive partner with the city and have contributed significantly to the vitality of downtown Richmond. And at this time, I would actually like the staff of Venture Richmond to stand and be recognized for all that they've done to make this work. Now I'd like to introduce Vice Chair Brian Jackson, who will make a special presentation.
Good morning. Thank you, Mary. I've got the great honor this morning of saying a few words about a good personal friend and a champion for downtown, indeed a champion for the entire city. Many of you know that this represents the last board meeting for our executive director, Jack Berry. And we want to take a moment to just honor him, and please allow me to mention just a few of his great accomplishments. Jack joined Richmond Renaissance in 1998 after serving Hanover County Administrator for 6 years, serving in several capacities in Richmond City government for 13 years. In 2006, Jack led the effort to merge 4 nonprofits: Richmond Renaissance, City Celebrations, Richmond Riverfront Development Corporation, and Riverfront District Alliance. Those groups came together to form what we now have as Venture Richmond. Jack also organized and secured the resources for the inaugural Richmond Folk Festival, and under his leadership, it became one of Richmond's most treasured assets, and still is. His tenure has been characterized by collaborative efforts with a wide variety of community organizations and groups, including Sports Backers, Richmond 2015, First Friday's Art Walk, the Slave Trail Commission, the Virginia Capitol Trail, and countless others. We're fortunate that Jack leaves us with a strong team in place. We have a great and small staff. Our current Deputy Director, Lisa Sims, will step up and become our interim Executive Director. Lisa currently directs all of Venture Richmond's marketing and events, and she's a great and talented community leader and has been for some time in this region. She's previously worked as Vice President of Marketing for Richmond Region Tourism, and prior to that, she was the Executive Director of the Asheville, North Carolina Convention and Visitors Bureau. Venture Richmond will be in good hands. Under Jack's leadership, Venture Richmond launched the RVA campaign, those great 3 letters that we've all known to come and use in many different formats. That effort brought together VCU Brand Center students, multiple other competitive Richmond advertising agencies to launch the RVA brand identity as an open source symbol of a vibrant and creative community. Today, it's characterized by that unique black and white RVA bumper sticker, more than 200,000 of which have been distributed throughout the region. In fact, I think Jack gave out half of those personally. Jack led the initiative to partner with the city on the highly successful Clean and Safe program and recent downtown landscaping initiatives on Broad Street and at the downtown gateways. He's also been responsible for management of the Riverfront Canal Walk and Browns Island, and has coordinated development issues for numerous projects along the canal. Jack led the creation of the Tredegar Green Natural Grass Amphitheater and restoration of the historic canal on property donated by Newmarket Corporation. In 2012, Jack spearheaded the fundraising and construction of the 5th Street pedestrian bridge, also known as the Halsey Bridge, which has improved public access to Browns Island. He also coordinated the design and engineering of the first leg of the Virginia Capitol Trail in Richmond along Dock Street. I think we can all agree that no one has been more passionate about downtown than Jack Berry. He's truly one of downtown's strongest leaders and a model of collaborative leadership. He's worked on many community initiatives that have made a difference in our great city. Jack has promoted downtown since the 1990s. At that point, there were roughly 6,000 people living downtown. Downtown now boasts more than 20,000 residents and is one of the most vibrant and fastest growing areas in this region. Jack, everyone knows as the ultimate team player, never seeking recognition for himself, always willing to partner with city and community leaders to help move the city forward. Jack will be greatly missed at Venture Richmond, but hopefully his service to the city will not cease. We'll look forward to seeing him in the community and having him continue to be engaged with all that happens at Venture Richmond in the future. At this point, I'd like to bring Jack up. We have a small token of our appreciation from the board, and we've also made a donation to the Brooks-Berry Foundation in honor of Jack's dedicated service. Thank you, Jack.
Thank you so much. I obviously have the very best job in Richmond. You look at all the slides, you get to see the things that I do. I mean, what better job than planning the Folk Festival and the Second Street Festival and Friday Cheers concerts. Some people have even said that my job in Richmond is the director of fun. So it's crazy for me to be leaving such a wonderful job, but have other ideas and other dreams, and there's the next phase of my life that I'm looking forward to as well. I have the greatest staff in Richmond, unbelievable, small staff, the most loving, supportive, talented group of people in this town. They're the ones that do all this. There are only 9 of us. It's a pretty amazing feat. The most wonderful board of directors that's probably ever been assembled in this town, the most diverse, energetic, high-powered group of people that I get to work with every day. For 18 years, it's just been an amazing ride, and I so much appreciate everyone in this room who's been a part of that. It's been an emotional week for me, leaving a job after 18 years. And of course, everybody knows earlier this week, my best friend and my campaign co-chair died. Oliver Singleton. He was the best friend to many of you as well. I didn't own that designation by myself. He was scheduled to come to a campaign event for me the night he died. Wasn't feeling well, so he wasn't able to come. But even in the last few hours of his life, he was making phone calls and getting people on board to help me fulfill my dream. He was devoted to me. He was devoted to many of you as well. And I just can't say enough about my friend Oliver Singleton and what he meant to this community. He asked a lot of you to help me. I hope some of you will answer that call and help me. I'm looking forward to the next chapter in my life. I hope you'll join me in that campaign. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jack. We'll certainly miss you. And I'm reminded that, at least in the business community here in Richmond, you're not very Richmond if you never had to clarify yourself by saying, no, Venture Richmond Jack. Or the other Jack Berry. That's our Venture Richmond Jack. Thank you for your service. And now, speaking of strong leaders who are passionate about our city, who have been champions for all the great things that happen here, we've got to give a certain and a big measure of credit to our mayor. Please help me welcome the Honorable Dwight Jones.
Well, thank you and good morning, everyone. It's good to be here and to see so many of my friends who are in the audience. I've been involved with Venture Richmond for a long time, longer than some of you who are in here have been living. I remember when it was Richmond Renaissance, and I hail from the days of Henry Marsh and Justin Moore. And when I looked at the accomplishments of Venture Richmond, I saw many of the things that we used to sit around the table and talk about years and years ago that have come to fruition because of the tenacity and because of the vibrant work of this organization. And so it's good to be with a lot of old-time friends this morning, and especially those who have been around for the last 7 years to help us as we have tried to move Richmond forward. I became mayor during the most difficult times in this country in terms of the economics of the country, the most severe financial crisis since the Great Depression. And I remember thinking at that time that Richmond has got to be ready when things turn around. I said at that time, and I've said many times since, that we cannot tax our way out of our problems, nor can we cut our way out of our problems. But I said that we've got to have a new pro-growth strategy that would allow us to weather the storm and to be in a good position when things were different. And that meant that we needed to grow our economy and we needed to reduce our poverty. We had to be intentional about those two things. And as we have all seen since that time, our city has not only done some very great and cool things, but it's grown more exciting, it's grown more vibrant, and it has grown like that almost every day. Hardly a day goes by when Richmond is not joining some list of cool places to visit, to eat, and to start a business, and to get tattooed or to live. This week alone, we were called a perfect place to spend a long weekend and the modern cultural capital of the South. And for those of us who have been around here for a long time, we recognize that this transformation that is happening before our eyes is so very exciting. And I see you looking at the screen, so I'm imagining that they're putting the shots up there. Since you're not looking at me, that's good. And so we want to acknowledge things like the Folk Festival and the UCI World Cycling Championships. And because of that, people around the world are looking to Richmond like never before. We need to look at this as the glass being half full instead of being half empty, as many are trying to position us today, talking about our problems rather than talking about our progress. You need to recognize today and affirm and embrace the fact that Richmond is strong, Richmond is resilient, Richmond is resurgent, but most of all, Richmond is just hot. You see it all over town. Stone Brewing Company is opening in Fulton, bringing jobs to a neighborhood that has been forgotten for decades. The city skyline is changing with new office spaces and new homes. Yesterday's old vacant buildings have come to life again as new vibrant places to live, work, and play. If you're like the John Marshall, your mind will be blown by the new Central National Bank building on Broad Street. And I bet a lot of you had never heard about Scott's Addition 10 years ago. But today, it's a place to go for craft beer, cool working spaces, and for a fun apartment. And if you've lived in Richmond for a long time like I have, you know what a big deal this is. 20 years ago, we were making some other kinds of lists. 20 years ago, we were making lists for the high rates of crime. But we've turned that around. Last year, RVA saw its lowest rate of violent crime in 45 years, down 30% since 2009. That deserves a round of applause. And for that reason, people are no longer moving out of Richmond, but people are moving into Richmond. People are moving into Richmond, and today our population is rising. For the first time, I believe that we've hit about 220,000 people in the city of Richmond. That's one of the best things that any of us could hear about. And all of this is driving new investment in Southside. The Richmond Marine Terminal is now a part of the Port of Virginia's global network. This has resulted in $17 million in improvement, and lots of new shipping is coming to Richmond, strengthening global trade in our city. Along downtown Spine, we are now going to put the bus rapid transit system. It's going to transform a dream into reality. We've been talking about this for years. We're grateful for the partnership that we have with the feds, with the federal government, along with the Commonwealth has stood with us in an amazing way in this endeavor. And together we're taking the first steps towards that regional transportation system that our region deserves and needs. We've got to have regional transportation if this region is going to succeed. And along the boulevard, we're happy about the NFL teams that now play football here every summer, bringing us a lot of fun and exposure that we could never buy. The Redskins are our hometown team, and they've brought in the New England Patriots. They brought in the Houston Texans, and stay tuned, we don't know who they're going to bring this year. And whatever you've heard or believe about this project, remember this, that it was a $40 million economic development opportunity. And so it's not just the Redskins deal. It's an economic development deal that is positioning us to have jobs in the West End and development in the East End, including the Redskins Park in North Side. And so it's important for us to recognize that it's a deal that allows us to grow by design and not by default. We are promoting tourism by hiring the city's first tourism director. We also hired the first pedestrian and bicycles coordinator, the first public arts coordinator, and the first sustainability coordinator. And these energetic leaders are strengthening our community and our brand, and people around the world are noticing Richmond for the first time. And at the same time, whatever you've heard about our finances, let me be clear about the fact that Wall Street disagrees with you. Wall Street has given us 6 bond rating upgrades in the last 7 years. We are one tick away from being AAA bond rated by Wall Street, and as of now, we still have one of the highest bond ratings of any city on the East Coast. And I think that that's important for us to know. And we're talking a lot about education today, as we should. But be clear, for the last 4 years, we've been working on that agenda. We've built 4 new schools, including the first high school that's been built in the city in more than 40 years. We've upgraded libraries. We've upgraded fire stations. We've upgraded other city facilities, including the world's coolest train station. Main Street train station is something to behold. It is an opportunity that is without equal anywhere on the East Coast. And I want to thank the members of our staff who have given many, many years. They don't look like they've given that many years. They're so young. But they've given many, many years to the redevelopment of the Main Street train station. And that's a wonderful opportunity for us. It's between 2 major city streets like Main and Broad, bus lines including BRT, the Capitol Trail for bikes, and even commuter cycling. No other location in Central Virginia can claim this, and no other train station on the East Coast is as beautiful as the Main Street station. This is a wonderful opportunity for us, and for a generation, all of us have been investing in Main Street Station. Over the past 30 years, the city, the Commonwealth, the federal government together have invested nearly $90 million in this facility. Almost $100 million when we will be able to get finished. And we're getting ready for high-speed rail because we know that that's the next frontier for the city of Richmond. We've all been working together to make that happen, and we're closer now than we have ever been before. We're closer now to having dependable transportation along the eastern seaboard so that you can know that the trains will be running on time and will get you to your destination so that you don't have to fight 95 anymore. Today, downtown is our front door, and that's why the capital city needs to make the grandest statement possible and finally connect our downtown through high-speed rail to the Northeast Corridor, to downtown DC, to downtown Philadelphia, New York, and to Boston. And with investments like this, we are changing Richmond's future, not just for today, but we're changing it forever. We're also dramatically upgrading the riverfront. And I saw the pictures that were on the screen a little bit earlier. We appreciate the support that we've gotten from Venture, But we are developing and upgrading the river for walkers and bikers. In just a short period of time, the Porterfield Memorial Bridge is going to be open, connecting the east, the south, and the north sides of the river together. We're going to have terraces so people can not just look at the river, but can get close enough to feel the midst of the James on their faces. And today we're not only doing that, but we're telling the story of the men and the women who have built our city. And I'm very proud of the fact that we will erect a monument to Maggie Walker, and we're going to do it right in the center of our downtown commercial corridor. So for the rest of Richmond's future, Maggie Walker will be able to watch over how we are creating an environment for new jobs and building new infrastructure and helping expand businesses and putting the city on the global stage. We'll be doing that under the watchful eye of a woman who generations ago understood what it was to make lemonade out of lemons. Richmond's future has never looked brighter today, I want to tell you. And as we look at what Richmond is becoming, we admit and recognize that we have never claimed perfection, but we can all be proud of the progress that we've made, because the progress that we have made is not just through the mayor's office or through Venture Richmond, but through a myriad of persons who have come together because they love their city and want to see it succeed. So many people love Richmond, and so many people bring their unique talents to serve the community in so many ways. And I'm so happy that you recognize the impact of Oliver Singleton today. Oliver Singleton was the leader of the MBL. He was a community servant, beloved by many who are in this room. And I know for Jack, it's a particularly meaningful and difficult loss because of their mutual admiration one for another. And for Jack, who is leaving his position here at Venture Richmond, over the past 7 years as mayor, I've always been able to rely on him at every turn. He has worked very diligently with us to make a lot of things happen. I've worked with him, and he's worked with me on beautifying our gateways to downtown. We've upgraded the riverfront, the canal, Tredegar, and so much more. The Folk Festival exists because of Jack and his wonderful small staff. And he helped us immensely on the bike race that brought us international attention here in the city of Richmond. And now as he moves on to other ventures, also I wanted to mention that he also, along with Venture Richmond, was with us as we were trying to do a baseball deal. You heard about that little baseball deal. In Shockoe Bottom, when I needed support from that, Venture Richmond and Jack were right there standing by my side, and we want to express our appreciation for that loyalty and for that willingness to stand by our side as we were trying to provide a vision for baseball in this community. And so I know that he's on to his next venture, as are many people who are sitting in this room today. But let me say a word to those who are aspiring to be in this spot next year. For you and to everyone else looking to hold public office, I want to urge you to recognize that holding public office and leading the city is not just about dealing with the concerns of a few, but it's about looking at the concerns of the entire city. Richmond's progress is rooted in focusing on the whole city. You know, it's important for those who are seeking to run for office to focus on not just the things that gleam and glitter, but also to focus on reducing poverty. Richmond will never be great until all of us are great. And that means that we've got to be great on this side of the Martin Luther King Bridge as well as on the other side of the Martin Luther King Bridge. We've also got to make sure that we're looking at improving public schools in a real and substantial way, not just a few dollars here and a few dollars there, but sustainable income to public schools that can be counted on, not just 1 year, but every year, so that they know what they have to work with. You've got to work on making sure that we bring along everybody in the city. We became the first city in the nation to create a mayor's office on community wealth building, which is now a permanent part of Richmond city government. And under this effort, we've launched RVA Futures to connect Richmond public school graduates to college, and eventually we're going to give them scholarships so that everyone who performs well in school will be able to be assured of college education. We've helped jumpstart bus rapid transit. We're also charting the course for the creation of a new social enterprise to bring jobs to forgotten communities. A job is the best way out of poverty. And of course, growing our economy and reducing poverty hinges on strong, high-quality public schools. And I joined the Richmond School Board in 1979, and I've been working on that agenda for 40 years. And since I've been mayor, we have invested in public schools at record levels, and we have created new opportunities for our young people to succeed. Our focus is also why public schools are now the largest portion of the city's budget. We singularly spend more on public schools than anything else in the budget, more than economic development, more than highways, more than streets, more than human services put together are spent on Richmond public schools. And we need to ensure that getting a high-quality education for the dollars that we spend is something that we get a return on. We also need to make sure that we balance all of the needs of our growing city. Education surely is of primary importance, but city residents want to be clear with us that they don't want us to cut city services. They want to make sure that their streets are clean and that their leaves are picked up. And I know this is an election year, and I hope that people who hold office and want to will invest in the future in the right way and in the sustainable way that allows us to be a city that has quality and addresses the needs not only of those who are the squeaking wheel. It's my hope that we'll make the right decisions together, and I want to hear every voice that is out there, and we'll not hold back or be shy about making the hard choices. Now, as for me and my administration, I'm convinced and very satisfied that our work has been good. We've set a clear course, and we have made it possible for those who follow to secure for our city a brighter future. Our city is strong. We're headed to a horizon that is better than it has ever been before. And so as our time comes to an end, I want the persons in this room to know that our work is not done. I believe that we have about 7.5 months to go, and that we will not shy away from doing our job, and we plan to be the mayor until the last day. And so thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of Richmond Renaissance over these decades. We have done wonderful work together, and we appreciate all that this organization does to make our city great. God bless you, and thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. It's a great report on the state of things. Thank you. So, in closing, again, we'd like to thank the staff and the board of Venture Richmond for their remarkable leadership and dedication to moving Richmond forward. As you've seen in many of the activities of Venture Richmond that bleed over to the city, it's been a great year and a great impact that we've had. And I'd also like to thank all of our sponsors and all of you in this room for supporting the efforts on an ongoing basis, and certainly hope that that will continue in the future. So that concludes our annual board meeting, and again, thank you, and it looks like we are adjourned on schedule. Thank you very much.